rescue op. Save the dinosaurs from an island that's about to explode. What could go wrong?
Hello, welcome to Fallen Kingdom, a return to Jurassic World 1 minute at a time. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And here we are back to discuss minute 44 of Fallen Kingdom. But before we get to that, David, heading back to Jurassic-Pedia.com, another one of these new animals into the franchise that I really wanted to see on screen. But did they do it correctly? We're going to talk about the Allosaurus here for a little bit.
Yeah, the Allosaurus here, gonna flat out say I don't like it. I know that the species was based on jimmadseni, which was a new species described right before the movie came out. And so it was kind of brand new, but also kind of jarring because jimmadseni has this kind of more elongated face than we're used to from seeing an Allosaurus. And I'm going to say that not basing it on Fragilis is kind of a mistake because people are far more familiar with that one. And it's kind of more boxier head.
Mm-hmm.
I think the difference being that, like, the skull shape for the Fallen Kingdom Allosaurus is pretty good for jimmadseni, but Fragilis would be closer to the Kenner toy that we're kind of more used to. And like I said, I think they should have gone with that look just because it would have been a bit more classic.
Mm. Yeah, and there's some photos here of the animal we're going to see this minute and in the next minute in the Stampede. At least here with the still frame, you can see there's a little bit of that red coloration on its horns, being a male. But it just the skin looks so lacking detail. I'm glad it's sort of
also
brought
has
up
to do with the motion blur too.
Yeah, and maybe it's because of the volcano exploding has blotted out the sun and it's darker, but it just it seems to lack any vibrant color. Yeah. But we'll get to that when we get to it in the minute ahead.
And another thing that bothers me about the design is just how thin it is. I mean, that's kind of something that's been a problem with the Jurassic World designs in general. But it's like it's missing its belly. The belly should kind of almost come down at least mid thigh, and it kind of barely comes down to the top 1/3.
Yeah, I wonder if that comes back to, again, how much animals had to eat on the island. We know there's a lot of predators that are now out on the loose. We're going to get the Rex back in a minute. That's definitely not as much skin and bone as she was in Jurassic World.
But even then, and this is something I brought up with Rexy from Jurassic World, is the Allosaurus would have to be missing bone in his stomach to be actually that thin.
Well, yeah, looking at the photo here, like the side of the belly is padded out. There's no ribs protruding or anything to suggest it's not eating as well.
And I know that the Hammond collection the figure kind of fixed some of the problems I had with the Baryonyx. So I'm kind of hoping they do the same with the Allosaurus figure that inevitably will come out. I'm kind of hoping that it does because I passed up on the extreme battle damage, the big one, for the expectation that there will eventually be a Hammond collection Allosaurus.
Yeah. I know there's a mention here about the Battle of Big Rock stuff. From memory, I think that that design is different to what we see here, isn't it? It's obviously a bigger. Yeah, it's obviously a bigger animal. They made an animatronic for it as well, so we get that detail in it as well. We'll have to wait until we get to Lockwood Manor and maybe it's a juvenile, but the Allosaurus we get in the cage there as well. Just because it's stationary and not moving, how much better the detail might be with it. But unfortunately, I've only seen that sequence probably once in the movies and once at home. Normally, once we leave the island, I turn this movie off and go straight into Dominion. So yeah, full right up here. We also get it on Manacorp Island as well. So for all things Allosaurus and all the other dinosaurs we get to see in the film and the franchise, head over to Jurassic-Pedia.com.
Come on, you're a better man than you think you are.
You should write fortune cookies.
All right, Dave, ready to get into minute 44.
I am.
All right, minute 44 of Fall Kingdom opens with a dino fight and ends with Allosaurus wanting a drag race. As we end minute 43, we're getting our first carnivore v herbivore fight in a long time. As the two continue to fight, the gyrosphere is knocked forward again, dislodging its open door, and with a hiss it closes. Owen bangs on the door, apparently full of fear because he can't get in with them, but or is it because he knows they can't get out. At this point, as the Carno gets to its feet, after another blow from the Sinoceratops, the big herbivore turns and runs down the valley away from the predator. So it gets to live for a few more minutes anyway, as it gets away from the Carnotaurus.
I will say that I actually find it more believable that the Sinoceratops would stop and try to take down the Carnotaurus while it's in this kind of state. Herbivores are known to be kind of hyper aggressive when it comes to the animals, carnivores being around. Like, horses are known to get very skittish and aggressive when they see a dog, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that water buffalo, like, they will go out of their way to kill baby lions before they allow it to become a bigger lion and thus a threat to them.
Yeah.
So I could completely believe Sinoceratops would go after any carnivore it's seeing at the moment and just be like, nope, if I'm dying, I'm taking you with me.
And up until this point too, it's been the victor. It's managed to win most parries, even with the Carnotaur sort of biting its frill. It's still able to get it off. And as I said last minute, having 4 legs on the ground and that weight is a lot better than 2 legs and your tiny little arms. But at the point, as the Carno gets to its feet, shaking its head, once again focuses on Owen. Now that big herbivore's run away. And he's standing there by a gyrosphere, and it sort of moves sideways, seizing up Owen, getting ready to charge. And we mentioned the smell last minute, how he didn't see it coming, but just as all seems lost, in comes Rexy from nowhere, doing the classic Rexy moves, biting down on the neck, driving the animal headfirst into the ground. She puts her hind foot on the Carno, pinning it to the ground, and then raises her massive head, shaking it slightly before we get the camera pulled back, and that trailer shot. She bellows loudly as the volcano explodes. What do you think about Rexy coming in here?
I think it's funny that there's a lot of people like, did the T-Rex kill the Carnotaurus or did it live? Like, if the bite to the neck didn't do it, standing on it definitely did. I mean, we're talking a 9-ton animal stepping on another animal. It's squished. Ribs are broken, internal bleeding. It's dead.
Yep.
And just to add insult to injury, even if it somehow managed to survive those, it is then dead when the volcano erupts. But yeah, I think Rexy looks good here. She looks even better in Dominion because, like you said, she has a bit more color in there.
Mm-hmm.
But looking here, just at the design, the belly's more full. She looks meatier. She looks healthier as an animal.
Yeah. And I think it's just the sort of like the lens of the color palette they're using here that sort of gives that dark, again, like that dark colorless grey brown color. Because you're missing a lot of the vibrance, especially with the jungle around her, or the green. There's no green. There's only sort of really darker colors, and then the bright reds as this volcano blows and the lava.
It could also be from her environment. She's just super stressed right now because of this eruption. And so animals, we've talked about this before, they can kind of sense these things. So she's been stressed for a while now, and that's probably affected her appearance in Dominion, she's been living high on the hog, just kind of chomping down on movie theaters. So she's feeling sure. I'm sorry, she's looking better. The colors kind of returned to her face and all that.
Yeah, and even like we mentioned in Jurassic World, like more so when she comes out on that helipad at the end of the film, like you can see she's an emaciated grandma T-Rex, just her hip bones sticking out, the rib cage showing. She's there. She was a caged animal getting fed goats, whatever, however frequent that was, whether it was daily, a couple of times a day. Here, she's been able to get onto some bigger animals and get that food supplied back into her, and looks a lot more capable anyway as a hunter. But she bellows. It's a shame here that they cut out the background sound of this volcano exploding just so we can hear the roar and that triumphant score. But of course, it is that shockwave from the volcano erupting that sort of doesn't mess with her head. It sort of forces her to lumber off away from Owen, seemingly forgetting that it just pinned the Carnotaurus to the ground, and it had Owen there as well. But it lumbers off screen, and as she goes, she brushes the gyrosphere, causing it to roll forward again. And Owen watches it slowly roll away before looking back towards the volcano. And all of a sudden, here come another stampede of animals that hadn't left the area earlier. We commented why these animals earlier up on the side of this volcano and they hadn't left the area. Well, here comes another lot. We've got to have another stampede. And I wouldn't be surprised too if they're just reusing the CG assets here from the earlier stampede, but just from a different viewpoint, and adding the gyrosphere to it. Owen turns and runs as the stegosaur passes him on one side, and lava bomb impacts the ground a few feet behind him. Again, we mentioned last minute about some of the size of these things. They can be 20 feet in diameter, injected thousands of feet into the air before falling to the earth. So to have them just plopping on the ground beside these actors, not causing any issues or sound cracking the sound barrier and that sort of stuff is hard to watch. But as Owen runs down the valley after the gyrosphere, we can see the pyroclastic cloud rushing down the face of the volcano. And we're going to see more of that next minute, and I'm sure we're going to talk about Dante's Peak again.
Well, air quotes pyroclastic, because they've kind of tried to claim it that it's a rubble cloud from the face of the volcano collapsing.
So that cloud would have rubble in it. I suppose no, the dust and particulates, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. We'll have a look at that next minute. But as this one comes to an end, we get many dinosaurs running down Gyrosphere Valley for their lives, including another new animal, the Allosaurus we've talked about before. Unfortunately, as we've said, we've talked a bit about the duller colour here. It's about to be hit on the head by a lava bomb next minute.
If it wasn't so tragic, it would be kind of comedic.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it hurts, but at the same time, like, I mean, they could have done that in a very, very comedic way, and it had to be done just right so it didn't come across. So,
Well, I'm surprised they didn't double down and show at least one other animal, maybe a trike or a patasaur or something getting hit and going down as well. I think maybe because they know what they're going to do at the end of this sequence back at the dock, and they don't want to get the emotions up too far, not too much just yet. But yeah, anyway, we'll go into it next minute. Looking at novel comparisons briefly, as the Carno stands to attack, we get the massive head snatch, the Carnotaurus in its jaws, snapping its neck and dropping the dead carcass to the ground like a rag doll. So it's a lot more brutal in the novel than what we see.
And you can kind of imagine it just hitting the ground, and it just kind of hits floppy, and the head gives a kind of like a tiny little bounce. That lets you know that it's definitely been killed.
Yep. The runaway gyrosphere was getting faster and faster, and was now passing some of the herbivores that had stampeded past them earlier. So it's not like the film here. We've got a new stampede. It's actually the gyrosphere catching up to the animals that stampeded past that log earlier. which makes a little bit more sense in one form. But again, in the novel, we don't have a whole valley to go down. It's only a few hundred feet. Where here it seems to be miles from where they are to the water's edge. And Owen does it all in a brisk jog, channeling his best Ethan Hunt. And it's a lot quicker in the novel. Claire looks back to see Owen disappear in the ash, and then they straight over the cliff. So this whole scene's condensed a lot more in the novel, which I think works just as well. But David, that is minute 44. I did actually go ahead. I think it's minute 51 where we actually Arcadia sailing off the island. So we've got a few minutes left on Nublar as this lava continues to cause issues, and our team has to find a way off the island. But we're going to discuss that in the coming weeks. How about we get out of here, and we'll return next week with another minute.
All right, sounds good.